One of the things that I find is that people post about successes. What people don't post is about the agony of data entry and how many hours it takes to sit at the desk and run a deal. So today we're going to show you 3 tools that will help you spend less time at your desk and more time with customers and posting success stories. So we're going to build a project here today. In this case, I always request, when I'm requesting financial statements, a multi-year statement. I never request 1 year at a time. And the reason why is because I get the entire chart of accounts and data for every year, whether or not they had a value in that year for that account or not. In contrast, when I receive a single statement per year, I get the active chart of accounts for that year, and they may be different for subsequent years. And that's frankly difficult to manage, isn't it? So I always ask for a multi-year statement for the income statement and the balance sheet. And those are typically 2 different documents. All right, so now I have financial information in, but now I want to interview the seller and I want to gather information so I understand the operating activities that created these financial results. Remember our valuation fundamental equation: economic benefit divided by risk equals value. So that means that I need to understand not only the financial performance, but I need to understand the operating activities, the actions that the company performs that create these financial results. And if those actions are stabilized, this company has more value. In our world, as well as in the owner's world, we don't rise to the level of our aspirations. We rise to the level of our systems. So the systems that we have produced, whether as a broker or as a business owner, that's what's going to have a significant impact on value. One company can have the same $150 of SDE and be worth more than a second company that has that same $150,000 in SDE, because this company has systems that are likely to continue to the new buyer. This company does not have those well-established systems. It may be a customer concentration, or it may be an owner-centric operation. Everything relies on the myth of the great and charismatic leader, right? That's a myth. And it costs sellers money when, yes, they work really hard, but that doesn't decrease risk. It concentrates risk. So the company that has a system is worth more than the company that does not have a system, even though they had the same SDE. So we want to gather that information in the value canvas. We can enter that information manually. We can capture that information by emailing it to the seller, where the seller would see these questions, or we can use, now in the advisor plan, I can select the transcript file. Now I can browse my files and I can find my seller interview. And I created this transcript. So here's my transcript of all of the questions and answers that were provided. I asked questions and the seller gave me information. BizProValue will parse this information and deliver it seamlessly into the portal. Now I can tell BizProValue, ask questions and tell me about the key products and services, tell me about the typical customers, about the market area, how the company competes and differentiates itself. And now BizProValue has parsed that information in the transcript, which I uploaded, and developed answers for us. And I can do that for any question that I want to ask. It will parse that information and read it and deliver good narrative text that you can use. You might ask about the duties of the seller. You might ask about customer concentration. You might ask about age of employees. Are any of the employees that are currently employed by the company, will they be continuing after I buy the company or the buyer acquires the company? Are any of them going to be retiring? There are areas of risk. Economic benefit divided by risk equals value. We're gathering knowledge about the company to help inform us about the risk that is associated with these financial outcomes. Okay, so now let's go back to a project where I have that completed. And now you can see that I have my financial information. In this particular case, I used 5 years, and I really encourage all of us to use 5 years. It gives much better and a fuller look of trend analysis, helps us understand operating performance and those elements of risk. 5 years can often tell us that, right? I filled my value canvas where we take all of the questions and filter them into the 4 factors of value. How does a company create a market of customers? How does it create and deliver value? How does it operate efficiently with people, processes, and resources? And how the company uses its assets to generate revenue. ProWriter has now developed text for a header, introduction, customers, products and services, personnel, facilities, and equipment. My deal summary is like a teaser content, a one-page narrative. That narrative flows from the value canvas to the business summary to the deal summary. Now I can come back to my most probable selling price and say, based on my understanding of its performance, above median, almost at that 75th percentile, based on my understanding of the operating activities, looking at what the officer does. From a performance standpoint, this company is performing well above industry average. As I understand that a little bit more fully, I may come to most probable selling price and decrease this based on that, we'll call it an owner-centric operating structure. And say, on the one hand, it looked like this company could sell for, let's put it at that 70th percentile, 749,000. And now let's put it at this 50th percentile based on our judgment because of that owner-centric, 676,000, $75,000 difference. Costs a lot of money to be a hands-on manager. You make a lot of money if you have a system that can survive that owner. That's the tension that we can solve by investigating the company, not only its financial performance, but also the operating activities where we develop our understanding and we can apply our judgment and develop that most probable selling price. So important to have your financial statement normalized properly. Don't take out officer compensation. Leave it there. BizProValue will automatically calculate EBITDA and seller discretionary earning. There's no need to manually remove officer compensation so that you have one single bottom line where everything is seller discretionary earnings. If we had taken officer compensation out, then our performance would be overstated and it will have a significant impact on valuation and even on working capital. I can look at the financing and say, here, I've got a little bit of weakening right here in this 2025 year. So it might require a little higher buyer injection. When a bank sees this declining trend, they're going to want to know, is this the bottom or what's happened in the company? So this is a great indicator for us as brokers to say, let's go back to the seller and find out what happened in 2025 so that our performance, which may be not as clearly evident in the income statement, but when we start looking at financing, we really see this. And a bank is going to look at this information. In this case, I decreased the price, increased buyer injection, so that I have a debt service coverage ratio in the most recent year that is sufficient. And I'll really make the story that we've got, in fact, 4 years of debt service coverage ratio that's sufficient. But I'll work particularly to be able to explain and understand what happened in 2025. So with that, here's my seller proceeds. We're selling it for $732. They're keeping some things, giving up some things, paying the broker. All right, so now we found an easy way to enter quantitative information. We have an easy way to enter narrative information. And now let's close with an easy way to produce a broker opinion of value. You'll see a button called Generate BOV Report. We just created assumptions, purpose, preface, purpose and scope, business performance, subject company, all of the information. It has preset content, but it is a very robust, very professional broker opinion of value that can bear a $2,500 to $3,500 price in your marketplace all day long. Some of your peers are selling these for $7,500. High quality, professional broker opinion of value that indicates the performance, the value that you developed, the reason why you developed it, and so on. You can download that report. I hope that you make many listings on many posts on LinkedIn about selling businesses. And I hope that you spend less time at your desk and more time with sellers and buyers. And I hope that BizProValue can, 1, help you enter data quickly, 2, help you enter your interview with your seller, and 3, publish broker opinions of value very quickly. More time with customers, less time at the desk, more time posting success stories.